My dad tried to break me. I didn't let him. From the outside, our house looked normal. Nice yard, trimmed bushes, white paint that always looked fresh. Dad made sure of that. But if you lived in that house, you followed one rule. What Dad says, goes. Always. I grew up in a small town outside of Columbus, Ohio. Dad worked construction, owned his own company, actually, and everyone in town respected him. Thought he was a man's man, someone with discipline, honor, tough love. At home, he was just tough. It started small. When I was 7, he'd yell if I didn't sit the right way at the dinner table. Fork in the left hand, knife in the right, elbows off. I was scared to eat. If I asked why, he'd say, "Because I said so. You don't question me." Mom tried to soften it, but she was just as scared of him as I was. Maybe more. By the time I was 12, he ran every part of my day. Wake up at 5:30, go for a jog, cold shower, breakfast in silence, no video games, no wasting time. Homework better be done before I got home or there'd be hell to pay. He called it raising a real man. I called it prison. At school, I kept to myself. I wasn't allowed to go to sleepovers, hang out after class, or even join the football team. Dad said it would make me soft. Kids thought I was weird. Teachers thought I was shy. No one knew the truth. But things got worse once I hit 16. That was when I started pushing back just a little. One evening, I got home 5 minutes late from school. Not 15. 5. He was already waiting by the door. "Where the hell were you?" 2. Had to talk to Mr. Gleason about my lab project. "You think I'm stupid?" Before I could answer, his hand grabbed the back of my neck and slammed me against the hallway wall. Hard. Not enough to bruise. Just enough to scare the hell out of me. "Don't lie to me. Ever again." He let go and walked away like nothing happened. That night, I locked my bedroom door for the first time. And that's when something in me clicked. I wasn't just scared of him anymore. I started hating him, but I couldn't do anything yet. I needed time. I needed a plan. And more than anything, I needed to get the hell out. I still followed his rules, I had to, but I stopped caring about what he wanted from me. I stopped trying to be perfect. I started counting the days. Literally. I had a notebook hidden under my mattress with a calendar I made. I'd X out every single day like a prisoner scratching into a cell wall. Day 412. Still breathing. Still waiting. I wasn't allowed a phone. Dad said smartphones turned boys into girls. But I had a cheap burner I bought from a guy at school, paid in cash. I used it only for 2 things. Listening to music when no one was home, researching how to move out when I turned 18. The second one gave me hope. I read about emancipation, housing programs, college aid. Hell, I even bookmarked bus schedules to cities like Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I started stashing away lunch money. Not much, but something. $2 here, $3 there. I hid the bills inside the hollow part of an old deodorant stick. He'd never check that. Then came the chair. It was a Thursday, early October. Leaves were turning. School was dragging. I got a B- on a trig test. First time I'd scored under an A in months. Dad found the test in my backpack. "What the hell is this?" "It's one test." I messed up. "You don't mess up when I'm paying to keep a roof over your head." He took the wooden dining chair he was sitting on, thick, sturdy, heavy, and smashed it against the wall behind me. The legs snapped. He didn't hit me, but he could have. And he wanted me to know that. "You think you're a man? A real man doesn't fail." I didn't say a word. I just stood there, fists clenched, staring at that broken chair like it was a warning from God. Later that night, Mom knocks softly on my door. "You okay, baby? You let him do this. It's not that simple." "Yeah, it is." She cried a little. I didn't comfort her. I know how that sounds, but I couldn't. I had no more energy left to waste on people who refused to protect me. Then, something unexpected happened. One of my teachers, Mr. Gleason, the same guy I'd once lied about, asked me to stay after class. "You've been quiet lately, and you've lost weight. Just stress. Stress doesn't leave bruises, son." I froze. He didn't say it cruelly, just matter of fact, like he'd seen it before. "If you ever need someone to talk to him here." I nodded, said, "Thanks," and walked out. But inside, something broke. I finally realized that someone actually saw me. And that meant I wasn't crazy. I wasn't dramatic. What was happening at home was real. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, if I don't get out of here soon, I'm gonna end up just like him. And that idea terrified me more than anything else. So I made a decision. I wasn't waiting until I was 18. I was getting out now. I had no grand plan, just an idea and a pocket full of stolen lunch money. The decision wasn't cinematic. It didn't come with dramatic music or lightning strikes outside my window. It came at 2:17 a.m., after lying awake for hours, staring at the ceiling fan. That night, Dad had screamed at my mom so loudly, I thought the neighbors might call the cops. They didn't. They never did. I got up, threw on my hoodie, stuffed some clothes in my school bag, and took the deodorant stick with the cash. The burner phone, too. A granola bar from the kitchen drawer. My student ID. That was it. I opened my window and climbed out barefoot. The grass was cold, wet. The air had that early winter bite to it. I didn't look back. I walked 3 miles to the Greyhound station. It was mostly truckers and drunk college kids waiting around. I kept my head down. There was one security guard watching the lobby TVs. He didn't ask questions. I used cash to buy the cheapest one-way ticket out of town. Cincinnati. I'd never been. Didn't know anyone there. But that was the point. The bus left at 5:40 a.m. I waited outside, hood up, curled in a corner like a scared dog. Every second felt like someone might grab my shoulder and pull me back, but no one did. By 7 a.m., we were out of my hometown, just fields and road signs behind me. I sat by the window, watching the sun rise through dirty glass. My eyes burned from no sleep, but I didn't care. I felt free. That feeling only lasted about 4 hours. When we stopped for a break, I turned my phone on. 8 missed calls from Mom, 4 from unknown. Then a text came through. Mom, where are you? Your dad is losing it. He said, if you don't come home, he's calling the cops. I stared at the screen, not blinking. Then another came. Unknown. You better get your ass home now or you're done. Dad. He had finally learned to text. I didn't respond. I powered the phone off again and shoved it into my bag. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. Not in front of strangers. Instead, I chewed on that granola bar slowly, pretending it tasted better than it did. By the time I got to Cincinnati, I was tired, hungry, and unsure what came next. I found a 24-hour diner and sat in the corner booth. I ordered toast and water. It cost $3.29. I left no tip. Then I pulled out the crumpled flyer. Mr. Gleason had once given me youth emergency housing, no questions asked. I'd shoved it in a textbook weeks ago. Somehow, I'd remembered to bring it. I dialed the number from a payphone outside the diner. My hands shook. Youth line, how can we help? I swallowed. Yeah, I'm 17. I just left home. I need somewhere to stay. There was a pause. Then a soft, calm voice. Okay, we're gonna take care of you. What's your name? And just like that, someone cared. No yelling, no broken chairs, no fists through walls, just someone caring. The shelter wasn't a palace, but it was warm. They gave me clean socks, a cot, and a meal that didn't come with guilt. That night, I slept for 11 hours straight. I didn't dream. I didn't need to. Because for the first time in forever, I wasn't afraid of tomorrow. I woke up to someone gently shaking my shoulder. Breakfast in 15, said a soft voice. It was a staff member, late 20s, glasses, tired eyes, but a kind smile. You should eat something. I nodded, my throat dry. When I sat down in the small dining room, the place buzzed with quiet morning murmurs. Other kids were there, some younger, some older. Most kept to themselves. One girl had 3 piercings in her lip and doodled in a notebook like she didn't care who watched. Another kid, maybe 14, stared blankly at his cereal. I sat down and ate powdered eggs, toast, and watery orange juice like it was a 5-star meal. Because it was warm. Because it was mine. Because no one was screaming at me while I ate it. After breakfast, I had to meet with a caseworker. Her name was Diana, and she had this weird way of making you feel like she'd known you for years, even though she'd just learned your name 10 seconds ago. She sat across from me in a room that smelled like hand sanitizer and old paper. So, tell me what's going on, Alex, she said, folding her hands. I told her, not everything, just the stuff that felt safe. She listened. No interruptions. No sighs. Just nodding. A furrowed brow here and there. Did your father ever hit you? She finally asked. My throat tightened. I looked down. Once, I whispered, but mostly it was yelling. Throwing stuff. Threats. Constant. Since forever. And your mother, she just freezes. Or blames me. I don't think she knows how to stand up to him. Or maybe she's just too scared. Diana made a note. Then she looked me in the eye. We can't promise miracles, Alex, but we can promise this. You're safe now. You don't have to go back." That sentence made something inside me loosen, like I could breathe for the first time. But she wasn't done. "You're still a minor, so we'll need to report your whereabouts to the authorities. But because you left due to alleged abuse, we'll request that your location remains confidential for your protection." I nodded, heart pounding. "He's going to lose it. He'll try, but he won't find you. Not unless you let him." That was the first day I realized running away wasn't the end. It was the beginning. 3 days passed. I stayed in the shelter, mostly quiet, mostly alone. One of the volunteers gave me a beat-up journal and a pen. I started writing everything. Not just what happened, but how I felt when it did. It was weirdly freeing. Then, on the 4th day, something changed. I was in the common area, flipping through channels, when someone walked in through the front door. Tall, buzzcut, navy blue windbreaker. He talked to the front desk. He had a badge clipped to his belt. My stomach dropped. Diana rushed in seconds later. They spoke in hushed voices. I couldn't hear a word, but my instinct screamed, "Run!" But I didn't. Diana called me into her office. "This is Officer Carver," she said. "He's from the Child Protection Unit. You're not in trouble." He sat across from me, notepad in hand. "Alex, I'm going to be honest with you," he said. "Your dad's been trying to file a missing persons report. Says you ran away, stole from him, that you've been troubled for years." I clenched my fists. "But," the officer continued, "we've reviewed your school records. Your teachers reported strange behavior at home months ago. One even noted bruises. And your counselor mentioned you were scared of your dad." I looked at the floor. My ears rang. "You don't have to go back," he said. "We just need your help documenting what's happened. Do you think you can do that?" I took a breath, then nodded. "I can, because for the first time someone believed me." I spent the next 2 weeks in a temporary foster home. It wasn't perfect, but it was calm, predictable. No screaming, no threats. The couple, Mark and Susan, were middle-aged, quiet, and patient. They didn't ask a million questions, didn't push me to talk. They just let me exist, and that was more than enough. I kept going to therapy, kept journaling, kept writing out everything I'd never said out loud. The CPS worker, Diana, helped me prepare my official statement. She told me the court would review it along with witness testimonies, including 2 teachers, the school counselor, and even one of my old neighbors. Apparently, someone had noticed. They just didn't know what to do. But just when I started feeling saferly safe, something happened. One Saturday morning, Mark opened the door holding a manila envelope. "It's for you," he said, confused. "From a lawyer." I opened it on the kitchen table. Inside, a formal request from my father's lawyer demanding visitation rights and threatening legal action for parental alienation. He was petitioning the court to force me back into his custody. My hands shook. He wasn't giving up. He was going to fight to drag me back. I ran to my room, slammed the door, and collapsed on the bed. My chest felt like it was being crushed from the inside. Mark and Susan didn't try to follow me. They just let me feel it. Diana called later that day. "Listen, Alex," she said calmly. "He has money. He's using it to scare you. But that's all it is, scare tactics. The judge already knows what kind of person he is. You've done everything right. But what if he wins?" I asked, voice cracking. "What if the court says I have to go back?" There was a pause. "Then we appeal. Then we fight harder. And we don't stop." I didn't cry often. Not really. But that night, I did. A court date was set. I would have to appear in video to give my testimony. I wouldn't see him in person. Or so I thought. The morning of the hearing, we went to the CPS office where the video testimony was being hosted. I was in a room with Diana and my court-appointed attorney. They'd arranged everything so I'd be able to testify without facing my father directly. But someone screwed up. When we exited the office for a break, there he was. My dad, standing in the hallway. He was thinner, angrier. His face twisted into a smirk when he saw me. "Running away didn't work, did it?" he muttered. "I told you no one's going to save you from me." I froze. Diana stepped between us immediately. "You're not supposed to be here," she snapped. "Back inside." Now, security was called. He didn't resist, just smiled at me. Like he knew something I didn't. Like he still had control. That was the moment everything inside me snapped. For months I'd tried to stay small, to be quiet, to survive. But seeing his smug face again after everything made something in me ignite. When the hearing resumed, I didn't hold back. I told the court everything. Not just what he did, but how it made me feel. I told them about the nights I stayed awake shaking, The time he smashed my phone for answering a text during dinner. The time he told me he wished I was never born. I looked directly into the camera and said, "If you send me back to him, I won't survive." Not mentally. Maybe not even physically. It was the hardest thing I'd ever said, but it was also the most powerful. A week later, the judge issued the order. Full termination of custody rights. My dad was banned from contacting me. Ever. It was over. Or it should have been. But trauma doesn't end with a court ruling. The nightmares didn't vanish overnight. The instinct to flinch when someone raised their voice didn't disappear. And I still had to remind myself, sometimes out loud, "You're safe now. He can't touch you." But I also started healing. Slowly, I joined a support group. Started writing again. Not just in journals, real writing. Stories. Essays. One even got published in the school paper when I transferred to a new high school. Susan cried when she read it. Mark hugged me like I was his own kid. It took time, but I found something I never thought I'd have. A real home. A second chance. And even though the scars are still there, they're just scars now. Not open wounds. Update 6 months later. I was accepted into a writing program over the summer. I'm going to be sharing my story with other kids who've gone through abuse. My dad tried to appeal the court decision. The judge threw it out in 5 minutes. Apparently, the video of my testimony had spread through the department. One official called it the clearest case of emotional abuse I've ever seen. So yeah, he lost. And I won. Not just the case, but my life back. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.